You missed something.
what your son was relating to.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Now, and keep in mind, everyone, we're talking about the real politics, not what you're told to believe. Are we clear? All right. Now I'm going to furthermore, and this relates to what we talk about. This relates to what we're talking about. Put it together. How many of you know that the United States federal government's been dissolved?
I heard about it.
Now, I want you all to look around the room. Raise your hand again. Look around the room, y'all, which means the majority of you aren't even aware of what's going on in the real world. So how does that place you economically and politically in the realm of what goes on in your life, your economics, etc.? And what's going to happen to you if you don't get some things put in place? All right, we're going to talk about some of those things today and tomorrow, but I want to bring this, in relationship to the South, the 1771 coup. Now, synopsis, real quick. 1871, they did a secret coup, whereas they converted the legitimate republic government, which was set up by Moors and a few deists. Understand, the founding fathers were not Christians, they were deists. Are we clear? Deist means they study deity. Deity is the proper name of the planet Mercury. This is where you get the word deity from. That's a communication center. That planet is a communication center. Your history is bigger than you know. We're not just on this planet. So there's a lot of things that are not discussed with you by the priesthood, but everybody knows what you're. So when people talk about the deities, there's only one deity, that's deity, that's the planet Mercury. Sometimes called Jove in your secret societies, in Roman order. You hear the word Jove, or you see that single eye of Horus, the single eye. All right, so the senses, you got taste, touch, smell, hearing, sight. When you learn true Gnostic wisdom of the ancient ones, which is really what religion is, including cosmology, which would include astrology, etc., and you become more harmonic with nature, those senses bond together, and it activates the chakras, which is often called ascension. Like when they say Yahshua or Jesus ascended unto heaven, what it means, activating the pineal gland, or the seed of David. And this is where that's called the pine cone, or the eye, the third eye. And you have a nerve that comes out of the dark side of the brain and terminates just over the nose of the thalamus. It's the thalamus. It terminates right here. That's why sometimes in Asiatic culture you'll see them put a dot there, or you'll see the phrase that the priesthood would say without explaining to the people, anointeth my head with oil. That's the activation of the pineal gland. Do you understand? Now there's methodologies by which that is done. Yes, absolutely. That's symbolic. But what it means is the activation of the pineal gland. Now when those activate, it brings in or accentuates what is known as insight and intuition. And that's when some women more than males, because women are more pure than males are. And so some of them are born with a veil. And this is where you get seers from, or prophets, because they can see on multiple dimensions. And people who don't understand that get confused, or they get spooky, and it's actually nature. So don't get it twisted, it's actually nature. We've been so out of harmony with nature that we've lost our culture. So don't be afraid of the seeing that you recognize. And that's what the one eye represents. It represents the all-seeing eye of all universal law, sometimes called Allah or Allah. And Allah is actually the Moabite woman. It's not some man sitting on the throne with a turban. That's another thing they don't want you to know. Also, the use of the womb, the ankh. This ankh is a uterus. Uterus, fallopian tubes, birth canal. It represents government on the planet. When you see in the book of genetics, which they'll call Genesis, when Mary and Elizabeth, who were cousins, were being administered to the angels, they were speaking to them about what is known as the applied science of the number 9. And this is the job of all women who know your real culture. You're to bring the champions here with a knowledge of the use of your womb. That's where the solution is on the planet. And that's why the angels were administering to Mary and Elizabeth. They were sent here already knowing the job they had to do. So it will be in the future. The sooner you get in harmony with yourself, the sooner we'll solve the world's problems. Whether you like it or not, it's on you. And you're not going to escape it. So learn yourself, know yourself, get back about your mother's and your father's work. For your mother marks you from the ethers. Your birthmark is not just the belly button, for it is the generating energies of the planets as she has traveled. Once you understand that and learn to respect divine law, we can easily solve problems. Therefore, physician, heal thyself. So let's get back to the real politics of the world. And I'm going to give you some synopsis of some things for you to look at so that you're not naive. Again, as we say, why are we here? Why are we doing what we're doing? What makes this important? Nevertheless, why is it that very few people are talking about these degrees? Well, I suggest that you use your common sense, all right? So I'm going to expose to you congressional records so that you also don't have to maintain your denial or your naivety. And don't get caught up in this idea because, you know, my man, he's a lawyer, you know, and Reverend's my cousin, and he ain't talking about this. That's because you don't know what that 501c3 skull and bones agreement is. That's why. And ain't got nothing to do with Jesus' head. Anyway, in relationship to your son, there's a lot more here, but this is just a synopsis. This will give you a little bit of insight. And you have, it's some law posted in there, but you'll have to do some research. And so you have to be among scholars so that you can get this information. Because remember, most people take oaths of death not to reveal this information. So don't expect that you're going to go out in the world and just get this, because it ain't going to happen. But also, I'm giving you documented records so you can understand that the fact that you may or may not be interested has more to do with your naivety than with the fact. Do you understand? Right. And with the lack of sincerity of people that are around you that look you straight in your eye from them pulpits and from them magistrates' desks and from the deputy knights called barristers and your community leader guys. All will have this information. Congressional records, you all. Now, in all matters of so-called debts, keep this in mind, you all, so-called debts. Why is it called so-called debts? Because they don't damn exist. How about that? Alleged under the bankrupt, insolvent, executed, and dissolved U.S. government, the discharge versus pay remedy means to put right. Something that cures, corrects, counteracts, removes an evil or wrong, invokes legal redress, puts back into proper condition, and in law a means, as in a court action, by which a violation of a right is prevented or compensated for. Therefore, the discharge remedy, as stated in the U.S. bankruptcy speech, and with all legal and lawful facts closely observed, the presented or prescribed, administrative processes should also be taken into serious operational and analytical consideration. With the aforesaid dispensations in mind and with the critical thinking, we shall review and analyze the expository speech made by James Tropicant, representative of Ohio, and you already know they bumped him off in September. Now, he was a representative of Ohio. For those of you who are scholars and those of you not, so you can have some base research, go look up on Louis McFadden, 1932 and 1934, on the floor of the Congress. Also keep in mind that when he visited his daughter in New York, they poisoned him.
Louis McFadden.
Because he talked about the fraud too. See, so it's important for you to understand what's really going on so that you can begin to save your families. Furthermore, because they're killing all the bonds, they're going to be coming at your houses. They're going to be foreclosing on you even if you made so-called payments because you didn't know that you didn't make payments. They're called the donors in the instrument, if you ever notice it, which means a gift, because it can't be paid. Now,
you said Louis Madden, what was the other brother?
Louis McFadden, 1932, 1934, on the floor of the Congress, where he critiqued the sellout that was set forth with Woodrow Wilson in 1913. Do you understand? Keep in mind, prior to 1913, all transactions of property were done in an allodial construct. How many are you aware of that? Not enough. But pay attention to this, you all. It's not in your interest not to know these things. And don't think you're not involved, because you are. You're in the stock market whether you think you are or not in the stock market. And you are stock. Go ahead. Loud enough so everybody can hear you.
Kind of like all this coincides with when Roosevelt, FDR did the 33, the bankruptcy.
All right, now, yes, but that's later. So think, as we were talking earlier, with the coup of 1871, where they set up the demo system for the demons under the Spanish Inquisition, the secret Treaty of Verona, doctrine of discovery, which the people who don't know have been ignorantly calling racism. It's really the doctrine of discovery. Spanish Inquisition, are we clear? 19 and 13, keep in mind, Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, who you know as Noble Ali, set up an order whereas the estate of the heirs would be restored, which was supposed to have been done with the Freedmen's Bureau, which they closed in 1868. And he set up the old Canaanite temple to re-instruct these people of their estate, their birthright, and the true history. Set up an old Canaanite temple, which later became Moorish Holy Temple of Science, which later became the Moorish Science Temple of America. It's really a restoration order, but it's often misrepresented as a religious order. Are we clear? Prior to 1913, Duali set this up, Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali set it up in 1913 for the instruction and the restoration of the Asiatics of the North Gate. There was a counter move made by the Romans, and Woodrow Wilson met with the Popes of Rome, representatives of the Popes of Rome off Jekyll Island, 1910, 1913, to sell the government. This is where you get the demo order, where they're starting to come out of the closet of the coup. In 1933, between 1932, between 1929, they got rid of Durali in 1929. And immediately they started enforcing these things that they had already set up. Keep in mind, prior to 1913, there was no mortgages and liens operating here in North America. Are we clear? Are we clear? Everything was a allodial title. Are we clear? And most people, you talk to them now, they don't even know what you're talking about.
Yep.
Do you understand what I'm saying? You talk about a allodial title, they're looking like,
What is that?
exactly. See the problem? I'm just saying that to express how far away we are from the truth. How far we are away from true economics and not knowing that we are. Oh yes, in the cycles, yes. Oh yes, now, yes. So now remember, Martin Luther King was a 33-degree Mason. And one of the things when he said, when he got frustrated, he was starting to reveal some Masonic secrets. You can't do that. In other words, you can't take it back. Once you curse the Don, you're done. There is no retreat. That's why he says, tonight I'm not fearing any man, longevity has its place. But I've been to the mountaintop. That's your seal on the back of that note. And I've seen the promised land. That's the eye at the top of it. Might not get there with you. But we as a people will make it to the promised land. That was his death. So they aimed for the temple of Solomon. They hit him in the neck, but the aim was for the temple. Masonic assassination. Islam.
Yes, how do I myself,
Speak louder, please.
how do I myself create change without becoming assassinated? Like, you know.
Well, now we're telling truth. This is what it is. Our people have been dying on a regular basis. Our youth die in the street every day.
Yeah.
What do you mean without being assassinated? They're assassinated every day. Our job is to stop that bloodshed
Yeah.
by moving towards the truth. They do it because the people are ignorant. They do it because the people don't stand up for truth. Remember, a liar can't criticize a liar. If we're playing football and you clip me on my knee, right? Then they use the ref. You go, you can't do that, sister. So I get pissed and bang you upside the head with my helmet. Then we both get fouled. Do you understand? Right. Let the law take its place. You got to remember, these people called Negro, Black, and Colored, and whatever they call themselves this week, are Christian property. They're no different than animals. He can do the Rodney King all day long, and the civilized world will not step up. Why? Rodney King. Now, we would take it emotionally because that's our family. But he doesn't know, and most of our people don't know that his status is dead. International law protects people of nations, not people who are not of a nation. Anybody that does not recognize their nativity, that's your mom, that's your nation. Nation is mother. If you don't honor your mothers, you don't have international law protection. Why do you think they put these brands on these people, call them light-skinned, orange-skinned, green people, and don't matter what color you is? And as soon as they agreed to that, they lost their birthright. Then they go around claiming to be Smith, Jones, and Johnson, property. Then buying and selling with the mark and the number of this man's name and wonder why they're wards of the state. It's not complex. Yes, he's taking advantage of us, but we're out of order. And somebody needs to tell us to our faces because we're egotistically self-righteous about it. Do you understand?
So if we understand, then we're protected by that law. As you said,
International law.
International law.
That's why you declare your nationality. That's why when Obama came back and he signed the rights of indigenous people, with Clinton and them wouldn't sign, it says at part 5, it says every child shall have at his birth a right to a name and nationality. Because if you don't have a nationality, you have no estate. You cannot maintain any wealth. These are fundamentals all over the world. It's just that our people have been so miseducated, they think that as soon as they say Afrocentricity and Kemet that they've arrived. No, they haven't. I'll claim to be Smith, Jones, and Johnson. Property. Then buying and selling with the mark and the number of this man's name and wonder why they're wards of the state. It's not complex. Yes, he's taking advantage of us, but we're out of order. And somebody needs to tell us to our faces because we're egotistically self-righteous about it. Do you understand?
So if we understand, then we're protected by that law. As you said,
International law.
International law.
That's why you declare your nationality. That's why when Obama came back and he signed the rights of indigenous people, with Clinton and them wouldn't sign, it says at part 5, it says every child shall have at his birth a right to a name and nationality. Because if you don't have a nationality, you have no estate. You cannot maintain any wealth. These are fundamentals all over the world. It's just that our people have been so miseducated, they think that as soon as they say Afrocentricity and Kemet that they've arrived. No, they haven't. If you don't act on the information, you abandon your birthright. And most people, because our people are sensitive, won't tell them just like that because they don't want to victimize the victim. We're full of doo-doo, and people need to tell us to our face we're full of doo-doo and need to stop sacrificing our babies. And somebody takes a stand. There's not one war that that this Roman has not won except at the hand of these Asiatics that insist on claiming to be black, that go to and fro the earth, devouring nations, and then come back and do a nigger march. Let's talk about the unborn. Let's talk about them babies. Let's talk about that baby having a chance when she grows up without being under the Christian black codes of 1724. And them lying saying Jesus set that up. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Not from emotion, but from fact. Because I can give you documents. I'm not trying to convince you. I got facts. I deal with scholarship, not emotion, not belief systems. The fact that our people keep dealing with emotions and belief systems is why they're in trouble. Talk Afrocentric and think that they've arrived. Well, no. Not at all. Islam says.
So in response to your question, what I hear you saying is we should not let fear keep us from.
Because this is
And
it.
if it means whatever.
This is what it means.
You're gonna die anyway.
He who seeks to save his life will lose it first. Meaning that this is the other issue. For all these people that have been claiming they don't fear nobody but Allah, they don't fear nobody but Yahweh, they don't fear nobody but Jesus-ness, and punk out as soon as this man walks around. You know why? Because they're confessing who their God really is. Fear not. Stand for the truth. If you don't want it, give the next one a chance. Do you understand? Don't talk about dying. Talk about let's put some things in place so our people can live again. Existing in servitude is not good life.
No.
Just like the sister said. Without good health, what good is life?
Yeah.
What joy is it in life if you're miserable and you have no good health? How can you achieve anything else with any reality, with any quality, with any love, with any production? So let's go to congressional work. I'm just going to show you a couple of things. No, not at all. Islam says.
So in response to your question, what I hear you saying is we should not let fear keep us from.
Because this is
And if
it.
it means whatever.
This is what it means.
You're gonna die anyway.
He who seeks to save his life will lose it first. Meaning that this is the other issue. For all these people that have been claiming they don't fear nobody but Allah, they don't fear nobody but Yahweh, they don't fear nobody but Jesus-ness, and punk out as soon as this man walks around. You know why? Because they're confessing who their God really is. Fear not. Stand for the truth. If you don't want it, give the next one a chance. Do you understand? Don't talk about dying. Talk about let's put some things in place so our people can live again. Existing in servitude is not good life.
No.
Just like the sister said. Without good health, what good is life?
Yeah.
What joy is it in life if you're miserable and you have no good health? How can you achieve anything else with any reality, with any quality, with any love, with any production? So let's go to congressional records. I'm just going to show you a couple of things, right? Congressional records. Now keep this in mind. And then we're going to go into the Clearfield Doctrine. Now this congressional records, March 17, 1993, this is when he made the speech. And of course, you know, after he made the speech, they set him up and put him in jail for 7 years. Yep. And you kind of know why they got rid of him last September, saying that he was on his tractor and it turned upside down accidentally on his farm. That's their usual stuff, Trump type. Now, I'm going to, you know why? Because they're confessing who their God really is. Fear not. Stand for the truth. If you don't want it, give the next one a chance. Do you understand? Don't talk about dying. Talk about let's put some things in place so our people can live again. Existing in servitude is not good life.
No.
Just like the sister said. Without good health, what good is life?
Yeah.
What joy is it in life if you're miserable and you have no good health? How can you achieve anything else with any reality, with any quality, with any love, with any production? So let's go to congressional records. I'm just going to show you a couple of things, right? Congressional records. Now keep this in mind. And then we're going to go into the Clearfield Doctrine. Now this congressional records, March 17, 1993, this is when he made the speech. And of course, you know, after he made the speech, they set him up and put him in jail for 7 years. Yep. And you kind of know why they got rid of him last September, saying that he was on his tractor and it turned upside down accidentally on his farm. That's their usual stuff, Trump. Now, I'm going to open this speech and then I'm going to skip and I'm going to go to another part to give you an idea of what all of your so-called community councilmen, your so-called Afrocentric community council guys, they got this information. Why do they always talking racism? Why don't you tell you what's really happening to you? How about that? This stuff is not knowable. Do you understand? Good brother, stand up so everybody can hear you too.
Oh, I just wanted to say, we never die.
Say again?
We never die.
Got that right twice.
We've been alive millions of years. Our spirits have been alive millions of years, billions of years. We'll never die. You may leave that physical body, but you do not die. We're
This
dead
is one of the
now.
lessons of
We're dead now.
Yeah.
when he came amongst his own, we received him not.
That's the worst position you got.
There is no death.
There is no death. We got it backwards. They
Some of
died.
you
They
are your
died.
own foreparents,
We don't.
if you knew it. There are very few new spirits on the planet.
That's right, that's right, that's all right. Yes.
Now I'm going to skip some of this because I really want you to understand this. And I want you to understand what everybody actually already knows. All right? Now, this is his opening speech on the floor of the House of Representatives. And so, also, this is for those who will try to dispute this information so they can't say, that's that Morris stuff. And that stuff is trying to talk that sovereignty stuff. That's what they're good for, to try to dismiss it. They won't call it a lie. They try to divert your attention.
Yeah.
They're called COINTELPRO operatives. I suggest you all look up COINTELPRO operatives under J. Edgar Hoover. And remind you, he got a fez too. So don't you think they don't know. Mr. Speaker, we are here now in Chapter 11. Members of Congress are official trustees. So if they're trustees, that means there's an estate. Doesn't it mean that, y'all? How come nobody telling you all about estate law? And how come nobody telling you all that you all have an estate? Anyway, presiding over the greatest reorganization of any bankrupt entity in the world, the U.S. government. So the U.S. government is an entity. They told you it was a country.
Yep.
See what the problem is? See what the problem is relative to consciousness or the lack thereof? So I want you to take this information in consideration and kind of comprehend why club members don't talk about this stuff, because their 501c3 agreement might be withdrawn. Huh? Oh, all right. Anyway, the U.S. government, we are setting forth hopefully a blueprint for our future. There are some who say it's a coroner's report that will lead to our demise. It is an established fact that the United States federal government has been dissolved. How many people know that? Wow. How many people know that? Look around, look at the hands, you all. I'm just giving you this documented information to show you, without doubt, how most of your concepts about what you're looking at is incorrect. Logically, how you approach things are absolutely incorrect. Are we clear? And while many people are sitting around talking about your rights and black rights and all that stuff are got you on a social treadmill, wasting your time when they should have you on another subject matter of truth. But then the nigger organizations would fall apart because they're funded by the corporations.
Yep.
Do you understand?
So if it's dissolved, then who's governing?
No.
Didn't we bring you all? Good.
That's just the word.
Good.
What county?
Good, good,
What?
good. The coup of 1871. They set up a de facto demon order called the U.S. democracy. A body of imposters. And the masses have been funding their own enslavement with their belief systems, not knowing that the corner reverend is a deputy of the deputy knights.
And aren't we legalizing what they're doing, this space up by signing and signing under penalty of perjury or
Well,
something?